Hi, I'm Tara of Team Tara Lyons with Royal LePage, and I am so excited that you are joining us today. So, welcome everybody, and I have an amazing guest today, and I am going to have Robert introduce himself. Go ahead.
Hey Tara, great to see you today. Thanks very much for having me on. I don't get called amazing very often, but I'll take it. My name's Robert Gentile. I'm the president of the Quinte Region Landlords Association. We are approximately 260 local landlords representing around 2,000 rental units. We have many members across Ontario who are investing in the Quinte region, and our members make up everyone from a small mom and pop who are just starting off with a basement apartment to more sophisticated investors and property managers. And our mission is to help landlords become more successful in what they do and also create a lot more housing so we can help address the housing crisis.
That's pretty amazing. I had no idea that your organization was so large. So, over 2,000 people are part of it right now.
So 2,000 rental units, but they're made up of about 260 actual members.
Oh, interesting. So, we have
Perhaps
multiple investors. That's
perhaps
awesome.
one day we'll reach 2,000, Tara, but we're not there yet.
After this podcast, you will. So, we'll reach
Great.
out.
All right. Let's do this every day.
That's right. So you're the representative here in the Quinte area, and do you have other organizations like this that are throughout Ontario and Canada too that you communicate with, or is it just in this area?
Yes, if you look across the Canadian landscape, there are other provincial and regional landlords associations. So then some provinces, there's one main body that looks after the whole province, and then there'll be smaller regional players like ourselves. So in
Okay.
Ontario, there might be 6 or 7 regional associations, and then across Canada, most provinces have their own provincial organization as well. All of us do a combination of education and empowerment for our members and also political advocacy to try to defend our members' interests.
That's excellent. And that's really good information because, of course, we have people who watch this. I know it's weird to say, but it's all over the world, right? And so when we are talking, we always want to let people know if there's other areas that they can get information from. So don't hesitate to reach out to Robert for that as well, because he could be your one-stop shop here in the Quinte area, but he can also help you communicate across the country. So that's great. What is the landscape looking at right now for anybody who's looking to invest in the market today?
Okay, that's a perfect question for any investor to know before they jump in. So I've categorized things into the good and the bad. So if I do the bad first, I don't want to end on a bad note. Right now, people have to be aware that with higher interest rates and higher prices of real estate, it's more challenging nowadays to make properties cash flow. Much more easier in the old days with even with when the rates were a bit higher, property values were much lower. And now the challenge is buying a building with existing tenants is another big issue. And when those tenants are paying below market rate, it's not easy to get those rents up to market. And you've got long-term tenants that might have been in there for 10, 15 years, and they could be paying hundreds of dollars less than what the current market is. The challenge is in the past, it used to be relatively easy to say, okay, look, let's do a deal, let's buy them out, let's do some renovations and offer them places to go. But now with the housing shortage, there's not a lot of places for these tenants to go. And if there is, they can't afford it. So it's much more difficult for an investor to buy a building and just somehow get these tenants out so they can raise the rent. So they have to be very careful on how to do that and make it fair to the tenants as well. So that's a significant obstacle. On the good, on the positive side, the demand for rentals continues to grow. This is good for the investor, but it's not good for society. We have a huge shortage right now. We're in a rental housing crisis. There's not enough. So rents are at an all-time high. So that's good for investors. Municipalities are encouraging more rental property development and growth. And Bill 23 is actually pushing municipalities and forcing them to allow second and third dwellings in residential homes. So this opens up a whole new investment landscape for investors who would like to help create more rental housing.
Yeah, it's certainly something that's needed in many municipalities. And with Bill 23, the nice thing is it was accepted last November. And of course, yeah, I do need to look to see what they actually called it. More homes built faster and obvious and what is needed because it's not just a rental. A lot of people ask us these questions. It's not just a rental shortage that we have. We have a housing crisis and a housing shortage across the country. And we can certainly talk to you about any of the provinces that you're interested in, but certainly in Ontario and in the Quinte area. With the number of people that are coming into the country every year, we have over 500,000 coming in, and we've got about a million right now in homes shortage throughout the country. So it's a thing that we're dealing with right now, not just rentals, but houses too. That's the great thing if you're looking to invest is you do have a pool of people that need a place to go, whether it's short-term rentals, long-term rentals, either. We need both. Okay, that's great. What are some of your hints, tips, or suggestions for anybody who's thinking of actually getting into the market today?
The number one thing investors are highly recommended to do is get themselves educated, do their homework, not only on investing, but also the landlord, because you might consider yourself an investor, but guess what? You're going to become a housing provider, whether you want to or not. There are investment courses, there are books, there are gurus, there are investment groups and clubs, and they will get you all excited and all educated how to get rich or how to at least get financially ahead with real estate investing. But what they don't spend enough time on, or sometimes any time at all, is how to be a successful landlord. There are so many risks and landmines every step of the way that if you are uninformed and you're getting into being a housing provider, you are playing a risky game. You might be fine for a while, but eventually you're going to make a small mistake that could cost you thousands. Sure, you could farm it out to a property manager, but how do you know the property manager is doing a good job if you don't educate yourself? So some real estate gurus will say you can run your rental property portfolio yourself and manage everything yourself, or you leave it to a property manager and then your job is to manage the property manager. There are many property managers who have made a huge mess of things. So you have to know the industry. Ignorance is not bliss
No.
in this industry, and it can bankrupt you if you hide your head in the sand and try to pretend not to be a landlord or you don't want to know the ins and outs. So read books, attend articles, attend seminars, subscribe to real estate magazines, join an investment club, and join your local landlords association wherever you are. Support that association because they're the only local organization that's supporting your interest. Number two, know the market. We believe Quinte is an excellent place to invest in. It has a growing population, a severe housing shortage. There are amazing things happening soon. Amazon is coming to town. The Trenton military base is going to be expanding. Loyalist continues to bring international students. Prince Edward County continues to be a huge draw for tourism. Retirees are coming here. The Bay of Quinte Marketing Board is doing a strong marketing campaign. All the municipalities are spending money to bring people into the region. There's a lot of municipal investment and infrastructure and amenities. So this is a great place to be investing your money in real estate right now.
The great thing too, before you get to number three, is we are so central between Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. We're along this 401 corridor. That's part of why we're seeing this growth and why we're seeing industry wanting to come to our location, because it's easy access for any business or industry that needs to have that 401 corridor. So people quite often ask us that question as to why Belleville and the Quinte area, and that's why. And we are trying to make it easier for these places to come and open shop here. Yeah.
That's right. Great point. Geographic
Mhm.
location. Number three, don't try to go it alone. Build a team of professionals, advisors, but also get connected to others who are already doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that our members love is their ability to connect and network with each other, to feel supported. They're never alone. We even have a landlord buddy program where if someone's new or inexperienced in a certain area, we'll partner them up with one of our members so that they can receive some hands-on guidance and coaching. So you want to pick a really good realtor. You wouldn't know one by any chance, would you, Tara?
Just saying. I was trying to be subtle. Team Tara Lyons,
And who do you have on you as an accountant, a bookkeeper,
mortgage broker, finance person.
a property inspector? Like, and if you don't know who to call in the local area, That's why, you start to get to know people in the local area, join your association wherever you are, or an investor club, and you'll find out.
Yep.
And the last
And
one that I
before you go to the next one, and that's the thing too, with us, we refer our clients to other realtors across the country who are privy to this information, that we're actually able to connect you with that right team. So if you are looking to invest in other areas, because we get a lot of people from our Toronto, our GTA, who are actually looking to invest out in Vancouver. Well, we have great realtors out in the BC area that can help you with investments out there, especially with a lot of the prefabs that are coming out and those pre-construction, right? They're great ways to invest as well. But you need somebody who can actually help you and talk you through that. So we can help you with that as well.
it's the power of network, right? The
Absolutely.
the last point that I had wrote down was don't be penny wise and pound foolish. And what I mean by that is we see it all the time. Landlords, we see landlords trying to save small amounts of money, a few $100s here and there, but in the end, it costs them big time. They try to figure it out all themselves. They try to represent themselves at the LTB. They try to do their own maintenance and renos. Sometimes that's okay. If you're a bit of a legal beagle, sometimes that's okay. But other times you're best off to hire the professionals. We see it all the time when it comes to the QRLA, even when it comes to landlords not wanting to join their local association or buy some books or attend some seminars and courses. They try to sell, like for us, it costs a pittance to be a member, and most associations do cost very low. And then they mess something up that costs them thousands that they could have been avoided if they had educated themselves.
Yep, it's true. And that leads into the other question about where we're at with the whole tribunal. It's a question we get a lot, how
Okay.
long it's taking, especially like COVID changed all that and everything got backlogged. And so, can you give us an idea of length of time or basically what's happening with that?
The landlord tenant board, unfortunately, was neglected by the previous two governments. So, no, you can't just blame this on any one part of your government. They let this languish. They allowed the funding to not keep up with the demand. And also there was a lag of time where more adjudicators should have been appointed and they were not. So what has happened here is that the case backlog has exploded into the tens of thousands, and landlords and tenants have been waiting on average 8+ months to
Yes,
get their hearings heard. And that means if you're an investor and you've not done your tenant screening properly, you've not done what we have taught or what other sources of best practices have taught you.
like us.
Yes, and you let the wrong tenant in that defrauds you, that tenant is in your unit for months not paying rent. So it puts you
Mhm.
in a high risk situation of not having any cash flow if you only have one unit. So you cannot take that risk of putting the wrong tenants in your unit. So the good news is that the current Ford government, more than any other government, is putting in a significant amount of money into the LTB. $6.5 million has just been announced to double the amount of adjudicators and hire additional staff. The LTB has gone online, so everything now can be done virtually. No more having to
Perfect.
drive to local hearings, submit forms paper by paper. They've really modernized things. They still have a ways to go. They're still struggling with timelines. Some landlords now, though, are getting their hearings in 4 months, and others are still waiting the 8 months. So it's not quite there yet. It's a bit random. We're not sure why, but they are improving. We really give credit to the government, but also the staff at the LTB for all the work they've put into this.
Yeah.
So
That's probably the first positive news that I've heard when it comes to the board and actually moving forward. So that's really great information.
this is great news for us. This is great
Yeah,
news for housing providers. It's
yeah,
still a high risk environment. There's still many aspects of the LTB that we consider flawed, unfair, or unjust, and we are continuing to work our advocacy efforts on that. And also the Residential Tenancies Act. There are many aspects of that are unfair or flawed, and we continue to push the government for reform there as well.
perfect.
But one of the big things we do to mitigate this risk is teaching our members proper tenant screening, and we
Yes.
show them what the best tools are in the industry to do that. And we also warn our members of known fraudster tenants who are out there looking for their
Yeah.
next landlord victim.
Do you know there's 2 things in there. One, I'm gonna give you a little tip that I tell all my clients, and it's things that people don't think of, right? One tip you can take away from: if you're able to drive by a prospective tenant's current place of residence, go do it. It's worth the drive. You can see how they live, see how they maintain the place.
Right.
It will help you in the long run. It's the number one thing I always recommend people to do because it'll show you how they care for it.
That's right. And
Yeah.
while they're there, Tara, I
Mhm.
recommend your clients look into their car too, because if it's a huge mess and full of dog hair and coffee cups all over the place, that's probably how they're going to treat your apartment.
Yes. That's another great tip. While they're actually coming to view the place for renting, you just go out and have a chat with them out by their car.
That's right. And sometimes we recommend to our members, if you're in doubt, if you're not sure,
Mm.
have an excuse to stop by their place and say, "Oh, I just forgot to go over this paperwork with
Yep.
you," and make sure to step inside their apartment.
Absolutely.
Smell, listen, and look. Be
Yes.
surprised of what kind of pigsties you'll see out there.
Yeah. Why don't you tell them how they can become a membership and where they can go to do that? Because it really is all about getting information. And we as realtors, we have a lot of it, but we are part of an association. And from that association, we get information. So if you are an investor and it's something that you want to continue to grow and expand, you should be part of an association too, right? Where you can have that information at your fingertips. So how can they go about doing that?
We have made it so easy, use technology. So if you go to our website, qrla.ca, you can read up on all of the member benefits, and we are continuing to expand those member benefits. You can read up on our advocacy work, our community work, some of our past events. You can really get a flavor of what we're all about. And when you're ready, you can, if you're not ready, you just subscribe to our newsletter. It's a free newsletter. But when you're ready to become a member and start getting educated and supported, just click the Join Now button and you'll
Mhm.
see the membership options. You have 3 options there. It's incredibly affordable. We cannot make it any more affordable than this and still stay afloat. And you just fill out the form and you will soon receive an official welcome email welcoming you to our landlord family.
Perfect. So we're going to provide that link below as well. So you can just go in and you can click on it from here too. And don't forget that if you have any questions about where you should start and how to get going, you can certainly visit us at TaraLyons.ca and you can book an appointment with us as well. And we'd be more than happy to take you through the process. We deal with all kinds of investors. So I want to thank you, Robert. It was enlightening. It was informative. I loved it. And don't forget, you can reach out to Robert or myself at any point to get more information.
Thanks for having me, Tara. It was fun.